What is up, fellow gaming enthusiasts? My name is Kevin, and welcome to Critical Overthinking, the BeyondPolygons podcast. Today, it's just going to be me talking about what I've titled this video is ConBravo 2018, a look back and shoutouts. And for me, conventions have been a big part of being on YouTube. Getting to meet friends that you've met online and all of that is such a big part of conventions, in my opinion, right? And it's weird because in the business world, conventions are supposed to be for networking, and you get to meet the more notable people in your field and get to meet them and shake their hand and ask them like, oh, how do you do what you do, sort of thing, right? But here you're getting that, but you're also getting it at like a fan level, right? You're seeing people who want to meet these people because, well, they just love the videos they make on YouTube, right? And people will make jokes about like, oh, like, what do you think's the best Kirby game, right? Because Ant Dude loves Kirby, for example. It's just one of those things where it's a real, it's such a weird mix, because at the same time, anyone who is on YouTube and is an aspiring, wow, I like tongue twisted myself and I tried to say it. Because for the YouTubers who are aspiring YouTubers, that's the easier way to say it. Oh man, aspiring YouTubers. Man, I feel like I had like a brain malfunction when I said that. Anyway, people who have the aspiration to be on YouTube, when they meet, when they get to meet these people, because I've seen it from that perspective personally, you actually get to talk to them about like their creative process. And it's really interesting because on the internet now, I feel like we're all being very open about what's going on in the world, but still there's nothing quite like, wow, there's nothing quite like meeting the people you look up to and in a lot of ways share a mindset with you. And that's something that you kind of get at these nerdy conventions. There's the cosplay crowd, there's people who go to conventions for tons of other reasons that aren't YouTubers. And I hate saying the word YouTuber now, but I feel like in a lot of ways, if you just like making videos on YouTube, and there's some sort of way to look at YouTube, anyway, if you've been around long enough, you must have. If you've been like me and are coming up on like 10 years on the platform, just messing around with it, just uploading stuff and feeling like a part of a community, no matter what size, because there's tons of like sub-communities. Conventions really hold a special place in your heart because that's where you meet a lot of people. And that you actually want to meet for once in your life, you know? And I think that's the way I've been looking at it. The more as I'm getting older, I'm realizing how much conventions have like meant to me and the things that I would go to and the people I would meet and all of that. Anyway, tons of stuff has happened over the years. It's been a long time. Anyway, so this past weekend, was ConBravo, 2018. ConBravo is in Hamilton, Ontario. It's kind of considered, I believe they advertise it as like general nerdiness. But the important thing, I think, for the Southern Ontario area was we didn't get any of the conventions that would have YouTubers. Like, you know, the cool ones, like Brutal Moose, and the RSSLiam was there this year. Who else was there? I shouldn't say Brutal Moose because he went to EGLX. But you get the ones like, you know, Balrog the Master was there if you cared about him. He didn't even go as a guest. He just kind of showed up. There was RabbidLuigi this year. There was Ant Dude, who I'll get to the people I've met specifically after. But like, you know, the kind of middle ground YouTubers, they're not the Game Grumps. They're not huge 20 million subscribers. They're not PewDiePie. But the people with like the 100, 200,000, the people who have like a small fan base. But I feel like Southern Ontario was so void of that up until EGLX is now open in Mississauga, Toronto area. Yeah, so I'm just been thinking about, I think that's why this con was so important, because now finally we're getting the Runaway Guys and things like that all coming up to Canada finally, because it doesn't really happen in Canada. So the next thing on my list that I want to talk about is my mindset going into this ConBravo. Now, I actually skipped, I used to go to conventions like every year. It does get quite expensive. But normally I would go every year with about 3 to maybe 4 conventions. 4 was a big year if I ever did that. I don't remember if I've done 4. Well, because that would be like MagFest, Anime North, And then like I would have done like a PAX, another one. I guess I've on average done 3. I don't remember if I ever actually did a 4. But anyway, 3 was I definitely had a bunch of years where I went 3 conventions. But anyway, because I've been to conventions for so long, I feel like it's such an interesting world to see how it grows and to see YouTubers grow. And every year there's a couple new people that you want to meet because you've seen them on the internet, right? And like, it's such an interesting experience to have gone to so many now that I'm looking back on it. Now, ConBravo, this was the 3rd one I went to, or I was going to. I'm talking about like where my mindset was prior to the convention. Going into ConBravo this year, I was I had skipped MagFest. Anime North isn't really about like my internet friends. Anime North is kind of just like the hangout for my local friends, because if you live in Toronto, everyone goes to Anime North. It's like this whole thing. And I find that really funny. But, so I didn't go to MagFest this year, which means I'm only going to 3 conventions this year because I'm going to Portland in October. But, because I skipped MagFest this year, I had a little bit of time to like recoup, and I realized it, because I feel like I've been dealing with some sort of depression and a lot of creative blocks. And I'm not saying MagFest would have saved that by any means, but you know, I realized I was missing like a big something or other to happen in the winter. I had my birthday, which is usually on the same time as MagFest. It lands on one of the days. It's cool. So going into ConBravo, I was excited to see a lot of my online friends again and be a little bit more, and get a chance to be sociable with them again and just hang out with them, you know? And I think that that's the most, because one of the things that happened, there was a panel, which I'll probably talk about again, but there was a panel about, like YouTube burnout, and they were saying that even as creators, they don't talk to each other anymore. And we all feel like we're getting burned out right now. It's a big topic right now, I feel, amongst the YouTube space. I mean, Brutal Moose, I talk about him a lot because I love his videos and I hope I get to meet him at Portland. So if Brutal Moose has he even said himself that he was feeling burned out and then he tried the cooking videos. And luckily those cooking videos paid off. And even recently, Caddicarus put out a video saying, Caddicarus, another YouTuber, put out a video saying how he wants to like take out the branding so he can be a little bit more creatively open in his videos. And I think that's interesting that we're all kind of going through something like that, some sort of burnout. And I don't know, to go to that panel and to hear people be like, yo, we don't talk and we need to start talking to each other more. I think that's speaking something to us, and it was something that I realized I needed once I was there. And I'm going to try to keep up with people. I'm going to try to message a few when I have time. But yeah, so anyway, that's my opinion going into ConBravo. And afterwards, I'm like, I got to talk to these people. But anyway, going into ConBravo, I'm like, I got to talk to them because I haven't talked to them in such a long time. And now we're going to get into the shoutouts of the people I met. There's going to be a whole bunch. But I'm kind of, if there's like any stories that I can think of as I'm going through it, we'll just talk about it. I kind of want this to feel like a casual conversation between me and hopefully also as well. This is another thing I want to talk about. I would love if I could get any of these people on here for maybe interviewing on the podcast and maybe asking them questions and learning more about them. And because I feel like, you know, there's an interesting market there. Anyway, interesting openness to like talk about these creators and really pick their brains about the creative process without being a part of Team 10. Anyway, because I think that's the most beautiful thing about YouTube. Anyway, first person I hung out with, this is all going to get all shout outs and everything to everyone. I also have a haul here that I'll talk about at the end because I didn't get a lot. But anyway, well, actually, no, we'll talk about the stuff that I've gotten as I'm going along. Anyway, sorry. So Ant Dude 92, as he is on YouTube. Awesome YouTuber. Really funny guy. He has such a natural take to comedy. I don't know how he does it. There's something about his delivery, and he's got the right kind of quirkiness. Anyway, I love his videos. I think they're great. I think they're funny. And I wish I could describe how he does it, but he's a funny guy. Anyway, it's funny because it's his little bit of Brooklyn that's in him. You know, it's that little bit of like, because we were playing, okay, so here's the first story. we were playing Super Mario Strikers in our room with in my room, so it was with my roommates, which were, might as well shout these guys out as well. TheCartoonGamer, very talented guy, great artist. He's got a great voice for YouTube as well. And Malik, if you're out there, please, man, keep making the videos. This is good. Anyway, his brother Ja, who has a channel. I'm not sure if he's spreading it around or anything. He says it's like still kind of new. He never sent it to me or anything yet. If you're listening, send it to me. Send me your link or something, or get your brother to. And their friend Rory, who I don't know if he has a channel. I didn't really talk to him much. I mean, we shared a room when we got like dinner and stuff, but never actually really talked to him about those sorts of things. And my apologies. Send me a message, dude, if you want me to put like a link in the description or anything. Which, by the way, everyone I'm mentioning will be linked in the description. And lastly, it was Badman Reviews who was there. Badman, you got to make videos, man. Like, you're a cool guy. You're fun to talk to. You just don't make videos, and you should. Anyway. So yeah, all of us were in our room and we were playing Super Mario Strikers, and Malik, Cartoon Gamer, and Ant Dude were Anthony, as I would refer to him as. We're playing Super Mario Strikers, and Malik really wanted to beat him. And they had like a few games throughout the weekend, but it was so funny because Anthony would score a goal and he would put his hand out just outside of their vision, and he'll hold up how many goals he has. And then Malik will look at it, and Anthony just goes, "Yeah, you looked." I'm like, oh my God, he's such a funny guy. It's just it's such a New York thing. In my mind, that's how I perceive it. He just seems like he's, something about it. I don't know what it is. It's just, he's a little stinker when it comes to competitive games and getting under people's skin, but he's having a good time. It's so funny. It was just a really funny thing that stood out to me. And Cartoon Gamer, man, that game brings out, like Super Mario Strikers, brings out the animal in him. Jesus. Anyway. So yeah, that was a cool thing. It was fun hanging out with Ant Dude again. Badman, do I have any stories about you? No, we just kind of walked around. We didn't do too much. We just played games. And I wish I remembered what we played and what we did. But we hung out. We got food. We talked about stuff. Yeah. Anyway, who else did I hang out with? I hung out with EpicGameMusic. That's his name. Great guy. He's just such like a natural, like, he likes being around people. He likes talking to people. And we just had a good time. We went to a bar, did some drinking. We're adults. We can do that. No alcohol abuse, kids. We weren't that bad. Well, another person I met while I was hanging out with them, was, I know him by his OC Remix username, but I don't, his name, we called him Steve-O, and I don't know, I wish I knew what his link was. Maybe I can find it. If I found it, it's in the link in the description. But I know him most, and what pointed him out to me was he had, he goes as level 99 on OC Remix. And I had seen the name. When you have a lot of OC Remix compilation albums, you often think about, oh my God, one sec. Needed water. He needed water. Sorry. Anyway, EpicGameMusic, cool guy. The guy I met was level 99 on OC Remix. And when you have a lot of OC Remix compilation albums, you see, like, you get a lot of collaborative songs. You get a lot of songs that are like, this person made this like big medley of music from Kirby Superstar or something, where they completely redid the credits and they added all these different layers to it. It took 4 people to make it. Who knows? I'm not sure how, like, the EDM kind of style music is made. But anyway, level 99, I had seen his name come up and I don't remember I couldn't put the names to the songs. And then we were talking about video game music, which, great conversations about that. I enjoyed the crap out of those conversations. We went to a whole party. It was him, EpicGameMusic, me, and Ant Dude, and we were just hanging out. This was on day 0. This was on Thursday. That's where we met up with James. Oh, I also, we went to ANC. Anthony and I, we went around Toronto. We went to ANC Games, bought some stuff. I guess I'll just do the haul at the end. Anyway, so we're at this party in James's room, I'm pretty sure. And we were just hanging out, having a good time. Talking about video game music, and Steve-O had a boombox out and he's playing like all this music. It's not a boombox, you know what I mean? It's some fancy new one with a Bluetooth and whatever. And it was just some great, he was just talking about like all these really obscure games that have great music, and we're all asking for like, you know, requests and whatever. And I thought it was just such a cool little moment of us just talking about stuff. I often like to pretend I'm drumming over it because it's something I would love to do, is to play drums over video game music. And Jameson saw me like the way I was like tapping and moving my wrists, and he's like, "You're such a drummer." And I'm like, "I know." Can't help it, but thank you. It's because in some ways it's like I know I'm being annoying, so I don't want to necessarily say thanks because I feel like I'm annoying people with my weird movements. Anyway, so we hung out and it was a good time. It was fun talking to them and just, you know, just being around people. It was a fun little hangout, talking about games and whatever. Anyway, then the con had started. And that was a good chunk of people I've already mentioned, and we've gone through a few storylines, and well, I've been going for 15 minutes. I have a timer here, and this whole thing's only supposed to be about an hour. But who else did I hang out with? Oh, my other roommate. Oh yeah, because I forgot he had to move in. Is Stefan, known as Games Unlisted. He does. I haven't checked out your channel, to be honest. I had only heard of you because I'm like, oh, you're rooming with this guy, and I'm like, oh, cool. I'll check out his videos sometime. You know what? Let's do it right now. We can do it right now because we can. Because you know what? I'm not going to eat up this whole hour. This is going by way faster than I thought it would. Let's check out. I'll subscribe too, because.
I'm FTA, and I'm very excited, kind of, to invite you to partake in the FTCR Sonic Colors commentary. Wow, me, already why? I know.
Okay, so he's got. Okay, so anyway, Stefan, cool guy. He was fun to hang out with. I'm sorry I never watched your videos before. I tried to do a thing right now where I watched it, and I don't. It's not bad. It's not bad or anything, but it's like, it's just a let's play to me. And I'm just like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna, I don't want to sit through a whole 15-minute thing and review it. I was hoping you'd have like a short review or something, but anyway. But that's cool. It's fine in the computer room, is it? It's not bad let's plays. Like the quality looked okay from what I saw of the opening and whatever. Obviously I can't judge the comedy because I didn't jump through it. But I mean, one of them's British, so I'm sure one of them, one of them's got to have a great voice for it. I just saw Sonic Colors Let's Play. I hope that's the one you wanted me to see. Anyway, I'm all over the place now. Who else did I hang out with? Oh yeah, also on the first night, I'm going back and forth between times that I wanted to like explain the whole thing. But on that first night, because I actually didn't have my hotel room that night, I slept in Ant Dude's room with his two roommates, which were RSSLiam and GaijinGoombah. Didn't talk to GaijinGoombah too much, but he's a cool guy. We hung out, like we were sitting in the same room. We were just talking about stuff. Really cool. He does videos about like culture in video games and like how different cultures are represented and portrayed. And I think that's pretty interesting. Or like the source material for a lot of like Pokemon and things like that. Cool videos. RSSLiam, haven't watched his videos yet, but I know he used to be with Super Best Friends. So he was so he's seen what it's like to be at the top. If you watch Super Best Friends, you might know him. I've never watched Super Best Friends. I never heard of this guy, but he was really cool and he's from Montreal. Fun to talk to. He has a very interesting mind. He was a cool guy. I subscribed. We also met RabbidLuigi, who is pretty much like someone everyone there wanted to meet, and I don't think it's because I think it's because he doesn't go to a lot of conventions, but a lot of people wanted to meet him, and I thought that was interesting. Like even when I was talking to the TRG guys, or rather the one of them, we mentioned like, oh, RabbidLuigi's here, and I'm like, or like I had said that, and they had said like, oh yeah, like I was hoping to meet him or something, and I was like, yeah, it's weird, because I felt like Ant Dude wanted to meet him, Anthony wanted to meet him, and I thought to myself, like he wanted to meet him, so that's like a reviewer thing, but they also knew them because weird. Anyway, so RabbidLuigi, I had heard his name before. I had seen his graphics because they were done by Nico, who does great graphic work. He had done the old branding for this channel. I just changed it up to my own stuff because I do like doing graphics. I do like making graphic effects. What's the word I'm looking for? Branding. I just like making branding and visual graphics. Anyway, 4 though, RSSLiam, RabbidLuigi, GaijinGoombah, Ant Dude. Was there somebody else on that panel? Oh man, I don't remember if there was somebody else on that panel. That's 4 people. There was one more. Oh man, I gotta remember who was on that panel now. Can I check? Can we check that? I gotta get this right. Lieutenant Eddy. That was the other one. Okay, I never talked to him, but it was Lieutenant Eddy who was on it. Okay, I knew there was somebody else who was on there. Yeah, so that they did a panel called Content Creation and Burnout, and I just thought it was a very interesting panel to see into a lot of their lives and to see how they discuss what comments feel like and all of that, and I feel like it does all add into the burnout. It was a great panel. I enjoyed what we talked about in there, or what they talked about rather. I was considering asking a question and then I didn't, but I thought it was an interesting. It was an interesting look into the minds of people who have that little bit of fame on the internet, and it's something that I've wanted to achieve at this point. I've been doing YouTube for so long. I've kind of like just hoped I would get a bit of a break at some point. But anyway, this is the burnout though, and that's what really eats at you. And I'm still small, so I still have like the openness to kind of try other things, and I don't want to rely on it. But that's why I would love to interview a lot of these people, just to see, because even if they were from my perspective, like Balrog, oh my God, he was the next guy on here I wanted to talk to. He wasn't or I wanted to talk about rather. So Balrog was already in Canada visiting, and he just thought, well, ConBravo is going on, I'm gonna go drive down there and we're gonna go hang out. So here we are here's Balrog at ConBravo, which was just a funny time. He's such an interesting character. He can kind of be the life of the party in some ways, because he'll say the one funny thing. You make the jokes with him and at him, which is kind of mean, but you do. But he's just such a stand-up guy. You know, we think, honestly, I think he's a super nice guy. And he just wants to have a good time. You know, well, I hope he wants to have a good time. He had tweeted out shortly after, it's like, oh, I wasted so much time doing stuff up here. I wanted to just relax or something. And I was like, man, you seemed fine at the con. We could have talked. But anyway, maybe I was a bit too personal there. I might cut that last bit out there. But, well, he tweeted it out. So in a lot of ways, I feel like I shouldn't shy away from that. But Balrog, if you do end up watching this, I would love to like interview you for the podcast. I think that'd be a really cool. I think it'd be really fun to talk to you about like where you sit on YouTube as someone who kind of was on the up and up, growing a lot faster. Like, cause it was always a thing that we wanted to get Balrog to 100,000 subscribers, and he just never did it. Just never made it. Well, apparently he made it for like 20 minutes, and then some people unsubscribed, and then he never made it again. And it was a whole, it's kind of funny to chirp him about that. But at the same time, it is interesting because he's had to move on with his life now and get a real job and all of that to get by in life. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how he's gone on since having found a bit of a following. Anyway, next up on the list, okay, was MasaeAnela. MasaeAnela from the Runaway Guys and her own channel. She's an old friend of mine. I've talked to her and I've met her. She was part of the reason why I started going to American conventions, because we were good friends for a bit there. And in light of that, it was fun. It's always fun talking to her because we kind of go way back and we've had a lot of conversations over the years, and it's fun seeing her again. It was nice to talk about those sorts of things. It was a funny story that I told her, and it's a story that I told everyone I met at ConBravo after it happened. It's nothing to do with her, but it's just this happened at the con. It was really funny. So we were all getting on the elevator to go up, and it was like pretty late at night, and the hotel has a bar in it, so sometimes you get a rowdy crowd that comes in because they're not all there for the convention. Or they might have been, who knows, but I didn't see any badges on them. But we were going up the elevator, we got in, someone else got in as well around the same time, and they had, for whatever reason, at first I only saw that it was like a napkin with something on it. It definitely was food, but I couldn't really see what it was. It was weird because they were walking with it like on a napkin, or it was like cardboard or something. I'm like, that was really weird. But anyway, we went up to the floor with the bar, which was the next floor up, and a bunch of dudes got on. Dudes wearing, I don't want to say wife beaters, but like tank tops and backwards baseball caps, and they're already loud and rowdy because, you know, they've probably been drinking. And then we realized all at the same time, because the smell of the food had wafted into the air, it's bacon. It is the smell of bacon. And even though when I look at the bacon, and she even said it, it's like, this is just microwavable bacon, which doesn't really look that great compared to real bacon. But there's something about when you look at it and you can see the glistening of the grease on it, and it starts to smell like bacon. And you got like 7 of these big kind of, I'm just going to call them rowdy. They were loud and obnoxious. Come in here and they all smell it and they all go, oh, dude, is there bacon? Oh, dude, there's bacon. And they're all just like, all of them had their heads up like, oh man, can I get some of that? Yo, that bacon looks good. And the woman who had it was just like, don't look at me. Leave me alone. I just thought it was such a funny moment because it's just like they were catcalling bacon in my mind. That's how I looked at it. And I was laughing the whole time it happened. They got off first, luckily. So we had a little bit of a laugh with the woman afterwards. She just said, it serves you right for bringing bacon on an elevator. Oh, man. But it was so funny. It was such a funny... Oh, jeez. Anyway. That was a great moment. And I told him to say that story because it was really funny. And then I made a bad pun about a con, if it was called Baycon. Turns out that exists. And thanks to Charter Conroy for telling me that. That was really, oh man. Woo, okay, that was funny. Anyway, yes, I'm saying Noah. There were 2 fans that I met. Well, they don't want to say they're fans because one of them I met at the convention before. And I feel the need to point it out, even though in reality, I don't want it to seem like I'm above them and they're fans of me. But they're people that, you know, were interested in my content for just the content. So, I mean, in ways, they're fans, and they would hope maybe just describe themselves that way. I'm not sure about one of them. Anyway, CRANTIME, cool guy. I met him at ConBravo last year. Was it last year? I think it was last year or the year before. I don't remember anymore. No, because he didn't, because Antu didn't go to the first ConBravo, did he? Yeah, no, he didn't, because he only went last year. So anyway, yeah, because my first year at ConBravo, I ran a table instead. Sorry, got way sidetracked there. Oh man, what was I talking about again? Yeah, sorry. So CRANTIME, I met CRANTIME, cool guy. I met him last year at ConBravo, and then this year, it's like he's seen some of my videos now, and he's in my Discord. Cool guy. He's a really fun guy. He's part of the Discord. I already said that, but I'm trying to think of what else I know about him. He does this great art in our little art section on the Discord, actually, or like share your stuff section if you have videos or whatever. Just put it all in there. He shares his art in there. Apparently, he spams all our Discords with it, but it looks really good. He's been drawing all 151 original Pokemon. He might do all of them at this rate because he's doing like one every day or so. And I just think they're really cool. I think they look really good. He's got this really simple, flat, like kind of cartoon style one. I'm trying to remember if he's done a lot of shading in any of them. I think that's one thing he probably could add. If he just added some shading to it, it would really add this like cartoon look to it. But I do like the shapes he uses for to recreate the Pokemon because it's a little bit loose. It's a little bit loose. It's like they're, I don't want to say bastardized because that's kind of a bad way to put it. It's just like a whole different art style, really. Anyway, so I met him, hung out with him for a bit. Cool guy. We also met MiniMattReviews. He's been following me on Twitter for a while. Cool guy. He talks about, or his videos kind of similar to mine in terms of just like conversations about video games. And yeah, it was nice to meet him. And you know, something that I saw in him, which I thought was really interesting, and here's going to be a great shout out to you, MiniMatt. You have this sort of, I saw the kind of happiness in coming to the con. At one point, he was just going on like, this is so cool that I can just meet this guy and shake his hand or whatever. And it was in that moment that I was kind of like, this is what first conventions really feel like. It's that first time that you really get to see people in person that you've seen online. And you feel this weird camaraderie with them, especially when you've spoken to each other. Like I've responded to MiniMatt on Twitter before and like have spoken to him about stuff. I saw the happiness in him, and I thought that was really cool. I'm being very open in these things, and that's the idea. It's critical overthinking. I think so much, I just got to let it all, I'm blurting it all out. This is a one-man podcast. I can only do this by myself, man. So I gotta just keep talking. I guess this is the majority of the people I met. Where was I going with that level 99 thing right there? I completely whiffed over it. One of the things I wanted to talk about with that was the main town theme from Mega Man Battle Network. He did that video. He did that song, and it's really good. That's where I was going with that. I went down the rabbit hole of like the party we were at and everything, and I got confused. Anyway, so let's talk about the things I've bought over that past weekend. So first we went to ANC Games in Toronto, Ontario. I was with Anthony at the time, and I picked up a couple of things. This is my regular trip to any retro game store now, is I really only buy like 2 things. One of which is a game that I know I've been needing to buy. For me, this was Mario Kart DS, but the sticker's still on there. Mario Kart DS, in so many ways, I keep saying that this is the best Mario Kart. In my mind, I want to say that this is the best Mario Kart. So I want to own it again so I can remember how good it is, if it is really that good. Also, this game does 8-player multiplayer. Holy crap, man. That's a lot of players. So I want to replay it and really sink my teeth into it again and see if it's really as great as I remember it. If like the game feels good, I remember it feeling good too. And you get to use all these different, like every racer has 3 different cars, which it has been evolved on. You can kind of create your own car now in 7 and 8. But still, like I feel like 7, DS is really good, and I want to go back. It's because it had a 1-player mode. It was really because it had a 1-player mode. Anyway, the other thing I bought here, hopefully it's in focus. It's a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas strategy guide. It's not a trip to a retro game store if I don't buy at least one strategy guide. This one was good. It was only 15, I think, 16, something like that. Or he said they used the US price, but do it in Canadian dollars. 17. See, I think that's a cool way of doing it, because that way it is a discount. It's the American price. But on, like, because even back when this came out, this would have been, what, 10 years ago maybe at this point? Because there was 2 whole Grand Theft Auto games. 2004, so 14 years ago was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It's not that long ago. It doesn't feel that long, to be honest. Which is what's crazy. But Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, bought the strategy guide. Although Brady Games, generally the worst of all of them, and I want to like review them again. Like I want to review more strategy guides because they're fun to talk about. At least for me. I wanted to, what was I going to say? I feel like for the bigger games, sorry, I was like way all over the place there. I feel like for bigger games, Brady Games is not bad for it. They at least cover all their bases, because there's a lot of information in here because it's a huge game. And I think there's a map in here too. I'm not sure if I still have the map or it didn't come with it. But that's okay. I used to have that map, I think, as a kid. But yeah, as for other things I bought, I got, first we went to the one gaming vendor at ConBravo that I knew I had to buy. Advance Wars Days of Ruin. Wanted to play this game again for a very long time, because I love Advance Wars as a series. I've played all of the games recently. I didn't beat them though, which I kind of want to do. I kind of want to do the story mode in all of them again, because I want to unlock all the characters and do it the proper way. It just takes a long time. But yeah, Days of Ruin was the last ever Advance Wars game as of right now, and I want to play it again and be like, was it really that bad? Did it really kill the series, or were people just too busy being butthurt that they like changed the characters and everything? I don't know. And then there was a video game night market that I went to, which was actually like a very interesting thing they put together. They did not expect that many people to be there, but it was a really cool idea. I actually really liked it. I want to do that next year maybe, and sell off some of my games and whatever. It's just like discount stuff. It's really cool. Anyway, and the other game I bought from there was Project Cross Zone, which I'm pretty sure they yelled at the beginning. I haven't played it yet. This is still in the cellophane. Did it for $20, and I haggled it amazingly. You want to know how I haggled it? I looked at it. I said, hey, I'd like to buy this. Handed him $25. He gave me back a $5 thinking it said $20. And he goes, and I said, I think it says 25 on it. And they go, oh, well, and I'm like, if you want to do 20, I'll take. And then I got my $5 back. I haggled the $5 off it. I'm proud of myself. I'm going to open it, but it is the limited edition one, which comes with an art book, I believe. Yeah, limited edition includes a soundtrack, an art book, and a poster. So I was like, I would definitely enjoy having all of those. I hope this is... Do I want to open it? I want to play this game eventually. But I'm pretty sure that's also a tactical RPG type game, except you use like Banco Namdai. Banco Namdai. Bandai. Namco Bandai. That's the name of that company. Namco Bandai. Capcom. What's the other one in there? Sega. Yeah, Namco Bandai, Sega, and Capcom in like this crossover game, and it's like a turn-based strategy game. I'm curious to play it. I've heard that I might like it, so I want to play it again. I want to see where it stands, because I do love, from a creative standpoint, and hear what I want to do on YouTube. I want to cover tactical RPGs for a bit, because I feel like Fire Emblem has become such a big part of me and who I am as a gamer, because I love Fire Emblem. It's been like I've covered like 4 or 5 of the games on this channel. I'm going to cover a bunch more and maybe start going down that path of like kind of finding a bit of a niche, but then being able to transition it into other series, maybe, who knows. Mainly because I'm just saying I'm working on a Fire Emblem video right now. But yeah, anyway, so I like playing those kinds of games. Project X Zone, hope it's good. Cross Zone, whatever. Hope it's good. The only other thing I bought, because they were $5, was these little finger puppet dudes. You won't be able to see them, but there's like a Typhlosion and a Lucario. And the last one I got, which was the funniest to me, and the reason why I bought him in the first place, was the Salamence. He's got this really funny face. You know, it's like it's because he's so small and he's trying to be ferocious. And so he's like roaring, his mouth is open, it's like rah, but it's because he's so small, you don't feel the intensity. It feels like he's kind of just going bah. I don't know, I thought it was actually adorable. I thought it was the cutest little thing, and I love cute Salamence, and I was just like, that's really cool. It's a Pokemon. Anyway, and that was everything I bought at ConBravo. What was that? I really want to start doing the artist alley more, because I need more posters, and I almost ended up buying more posters. Like, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I guess we can just ramble about stuff for the next few minutes. I will say right now, if anyone wants to leave me questions for future videos, leave them in the comments down below. Questions, comments, concerns, doesn't matter. Just let me know. And I'll probably respond to them. They don't have a lot of views on them or anything. There's not a lot of comments at the time of me making this video. But yeah, I just thought, I could answer questions while we're here. As for my world, I've been playing Advance Wars Days of Ruin. I actually just popped that right in my DS. I'm like, I'm going to play this. I'm going to go through the story mode and see how good it is, because I'm pretty sure the story is pretty good. From really what I remember, it's not bad at all. Right? If anything, it's trying to be darker and edgier. The weird thing about it is, and I'll probably like ruin the video I'm going to make about it, but the real problem with it is the writing is like the same as the other ones. It's got the same sort of tone in the way it's written. Like, there's this one point, because you meet this mysterious character in the second episode, and then she gets like sick, and 2 chapters later, right after they told you about these flowers, this like fungus that's like a parasite, and it like grows out of its host like flowers, and like, oh, it looks pretty, but it's not. And it's like, oh my god, and it's like freaky and weird. So I look at that and I'm just like, that's really messed up. And then they're like, oh, she's really sick. Oh no, don't get near her because she might be infected with that thing. And we're all worried. And then they get her to the hospital, and the doctor is like, I'm sorry, I don't know how to tell you this. And the main character, well, his name's Will, is going all like, oh, doc, you gotta tell me. Like, you gotta tell me what it is. And he's like, and he's like, come on, out with it. And he's like, I don't know how to tell you, so I'll let her tell you. And it's like, what? I was worried she was dying. You're in a post-apocalyptic wasteland where there's this parasite that's growing out of people. You freaked me out saying that it might have been that disease. And then she's fine. And then immediately after, he's like, man, it's a miracle. We thought she was really sick. And then we got here and then she wasn't. It was really weird. And I'm like, that's a better conversation than you could have had this whole conversation instead of doing the whole, haha, I thought I acted really sad to make you think that you were going to be sad. Anyway, to make you think that this was going to be sad, I guess I should say. Admittedly, it's like the 4th chapter, so it's like, you can't kill off this character we've just met. Clearly, there's going to be some story around her. We found her on the ground or something. Oh, man. So, it's a funny game. It's funny that the game doesn't really have its own sort of... How do I put it? The game doesn't have its... It's trying really hard because it's like a crazy, like, dark setting about, like, post-apocalypse and governments trying to, like, rebuild and people trying to, like, conquer over this new world. It's kind of like Mad Maxy in that, except they're all, like, former military people, so they have, like, squads. But I guess at the same time, that's the point, because a battalion's not that large, and that's supposed to be, like, you know, the size of your average army in Advance Wars, but then you have like bases and stuff built. I don't know. It's weird because like if the world collapsed like that and some like most of the world was wiped out, I feel like the fact that all of you would be a part of the same military would be a little weird, but you would all like come together and there's like 10 of you just being like, we're going to fight back. But then it's like a whole army. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense the more I think about it, but there are like actual like former government people and higher ups that are still like in charge and whatever. And it's like, this is very convenient how many people are still alive here. Anyway, but I do like Advance Wars, they Days of Ruin rather, because it mixes up like a lot of the gameplay. They made the new bike. They made the new bike unit, which is like an infantry, except it can move really far, which is like the main problem with infantry in the first place. So they gave him a little bit more movement. And they did that because Sammy's not in the game, and Sammy's got all the broken infantry-based stuff. So they're like, okay, we can make a good infantry now if we don't have someone who's like really good with them. And they don't. The problem with the game is like, because there's like so few commanding officers, there's not a lot of variety with like their differences either. So it's weird. But they did do a cool job, because what you can do like a cool job. They did do a cool thing with your commanding officer actually gets into one of the units and it creates like this zone of like buffs, which is like really cool. I thought that was a great addition. And the thing is that Advance Wars is an intelligent systems property. So it's just, I'm going to hold up the case, because Advance Wars is a intelligent systems property. Well, it doesn't say on it. Oh, no, there it is. Intelligent Systems. Also does Fire Emblem. You can tell with this game that they're really trying to have like a big, grand story, because the music in it's great. Music in it's really good. It's trying to have like a little bit more of like a movie score type theme, if you want to do it. If you want to call it that. But I just thought it was really cool. Although I love like really early era like online games for the DS, or like Nintendo online games, because they were always bad. This game had voice chat, and they still said like online interaction is not rated by the ESRB, as it's always been, right? Like that's always, I feel like every online game has that written on it somewhere. But to think of that for like a weird Nintendo DS game, in my mind, I'm just thinking, what's the worst that could happen, right? What's the worst that can happen? Some dude's name, or they drew like a bad shape in their on their map that you've downloaded. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. I was just like, what is this? I believe you could also like set a map. You could make a map be like online compatible by proving that somebody can win on it or something. It's really weird. Or you can make your own trial map, something like that. I don't know. That was an interesting little side thing that you can do in there. It is missing features. I feel like it is missing features. It doesn't have a trial map mode. I think that's what it's missing. Or like you can just do the trial, except you can do trial maps and you can beat them and it will mark if you've beaten them. But it doesn't, there's no reward for doing it, I guess is the better way to do it. You don't get anything except like a completionist bonus maybe. like maybe more maps for doing it on its own. But I don't know. I gotta play through it again. I want to relive Days of Ruin. So we might do that after I'm recording this. We'll see. Because I'm just working on a Fire Emblem video right now. We might do like a bunch of Fire Emblem videos back to back because I enjoy talking about them and I feel like it'd be really fun to dissect them. Anyway, yeah, that's about it. Anything else I remember wanted to talk about? I love retro game stores. I love going to those. They're the coolest thing, man. Like, it's just, they're so, they know their look that they gotta go for because it's gotta look kind of like old and grungy in some ways, but not in like a bad way, but in the sort of like, you know, basic glass case keeps all the games safe. Shelves don't have to be necessarily fancy, right? Some of them can, and some of them can look kind of good when they kind of use like basic commercial shelving. But when you get like some like kind of dingy, this is ANC games rather, but when you get like a kind of dingy sort of, you know, veneer looking 90s hardwood, you know, bookcase holding games, it's like, it feels quaint, feels approachable. And their store is huge now. I remember because they've moved into a new one and they do have some very nice shelving in there. It's not like run down or anything, but it's such a cool look to it. And even when the ones that are a little bit cleaned up, to be surrounded by those games again, it brings you back to those thoughts of like Blockbuster. Oh man, it's great. And just being surrounded by games. When EB Games was only a game store, that was great. And speaking of EB Games, holy crap. They suck now. I mean, it's all merchandise, which is really cool because that's actually what I would go there for. I would go there for merchandise still. I find myself like, I got my friend for Christmas because she had just moved into a new house. I got her a poster of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild from EB Games. Like, it's just the official art put out on a poster. It looked really good. And it was pretty affordable, right? Like, you know, sure, I mean, if you got something like that from the artist alley at a convention, it might even be more expensive because it's like this really big thing and they painted it themselves and whatever. But I think it looks really good. Like, I think it's just, it's really cool. And I got it for her, and you can buy those sorts of things at EB Games now. EB Games is pretty much the Canadian GameStop, which is weird because I feel like I feel like I had never heard of GameStop until well after I had heard of EB Games. Maybe that's the internet or something, but I don't know. It was a very weird, because I think it's the same company. It's the same company now, and I feel like GameStop's not that exciting from my perspective. I just remember they had a few games. They had a few older games for a bit longer. I think they got into that sooner, which was good. They got into the older games a lot sooner. EB Games, it's not bad. It's not bad. I like the merchandise that's in there. That's what's worth going there for. That was like a weird tangent there. But is there anything else I wanted to talk about? Was there anything else? ConBravo, Canada. I do enjoy to see American people come up to Canada because you get to show them like, here's Tim Hortons, and they try it and they're like, that's just coffee and a donut. And it's like, yeah, and it tastes really good. There was a new, this is totally like not even about ConBravo anymore, but there was a new Timbit at Tim Hortons, and it's a blueberry Timbit. And it's really just like you took a muffin and rolled it up and then glazed it. And it was so good. It was just like a little round muffin that you glazed afterwards, like a blueberry muffin. Oh, so good. So good. I'm still a chocolate glazed guy all the way. Chocolate glazed is the best one, hands down. Anyway, and poutine. We did actually get poutine. The smokes near the convention was closed or were renovating. And I was like, what? I really wanted that poutine. It's a real shame. We went to the Works, though. The Works is across the street from it. Shoutouts to the Works. Delicious, delicious burgers and poutine, because I did get a poutine at one point, because I just said someone's got to eat a poutine while we're all up here. So I did, and it was quite delicious. If you don't know what poutine is French fries, gravy, and cheese curds. It's so good. It's so good. Cheese curds is pretty much like the base level cheese. It's like the very first stage of a cheese in the aging process. And so they're already like kind of, they're spongy, right? They're not, like they melt if they're under high enough heat, but it's gonna be like really stringy if they're melted. It's so good though. It's so delicious. And you mix the gravy flavor in there. If you get a real beef gravy, that's the flavor. You go to a fast food place, you usually get a chicken gravy. Even Smokes uses chicken gravy, which it's not bad, but beef is always better. It just tastes way better when it's beef. We're gonna end it right here. There's not much else left to talk about. Thank you to everyone who I met at ConBravo though. It's a lot of fun meeting all of you. A lot of fun talking about things. If, again, any comments, questions, concerns, leave them in the comments down below and I'll probably address them in the future video, or if it's something I can just respond to in that moment, I'll just respond to it just like that. And yeah, I think that'd be, that'll be a good time. Anyway, with that being said, thank you all for listening to this. Thank you for saying hi to me at ConBravo if you were there. I'm going to be going to Portland Retro Gaming Expo in October, so if anyone's interested in that. And yeah, see you later.